Well, today we have some bad news and some good news. The bad news is we're going to prison.
It's all his fault.
The good news is we're at Brushy Mountain State Penitentiary, and we're going to give everybody a tour of this old site.
Yep, so probably the most prominent inmate here of its time was James Earl Ray. So he was the guy who assassinated Martin Luther King Jr. So a little bit of history there.
So we're about to go get deloused, and then we're going to find the mess hall, get some chow.
Yeah.
Come along with us. We are making our way up to Brushy Mountain Penitentiary, where we are to report to jail as soon as possible.
Well, let's see if you cannot get a speeding ticket on the way to this prison.
Yeah, I'm like 0 for 1 on trips to prison, so. But looks like we're gonna gain some elevation here and literally work our way up to the prison. So our route today, we started in Gatlinburg, took us Route 40 through Knoxville, and then we're worked our way over to where we are now on Route 62. And we'll be heading kind of an westerly, northerly direction. Definitely a nice ride though. About an hour and a half from Gatlinburg for a reference point. We definitely looked out and got a beautiful day. Temperature's way down, humidity's way down. It's supposed to be in the upper 70s with low humidity, so definitely
and the
feel it.
Are gone.
Yeah, definitely feel it cooler as we're heading up. Heading north on 116, and we should be about 8 minutes away. Going to be some nice windy roads through here.
Oh yeah. Says it should be right up here. Yeah.
Right around the bend.
Yep.
Looks like it.
And there it is.
Do not enter.
Oh, they have a little camping section.
RV.
RV park and cabins up ahead.
Keep going? Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. Oh yeah, they got little places you can camp. Little electrical. There you go. Established in 1896. Dangerous since 1896. Getting tickets.
Okay. Looks like okay, there you go.
Here we are. We'll come up here to a flat spot. And report to prison. So note to self, as you pull in, you have to stop and get your tickets at a building when you first pull in, and then you come up here and park in the main parking lot. Because if you don't know that and you come park in the main parking lot, you've got to walk back down there or drive back down there to get your tickets.
There's a cool bus.
So this is where you're supposed to come to stop in here and get your tickets. Once you're sentenced, you
Yep.
gotta stop here.
Got to get your one-way ticket.
They bring you in on this bus right here and
This is a creepy
drop you
looking
off.
bus
I
too.
know. It's called the Warden. So here's the gift shop, restaurant.
There's a parking lot right here off to the side, so you
That's
can
where
park.
you're supposed to stop.
Yes. Don't do what we did.
And this is the gift shop. It's kind of cool. They have a little brewery here, so they have a tasting station. And it's called the Brushy Mountain Distillery. As most of the places down here, you can get what you want. And here's the mess hall. This is the menu. See what you can get here. Order over here. There's plenty of seating, indoor, outdoor. You can actually eat in jail, which we're going to be doing. We're going to go visit Dawn in jail here. Swing loose, sweet jail.
Get me out of here.
We ordered our lunch here in the cafeteria, and I got a club sandwich.
I got the club sandwich, but I got macaroni and cheese.
I got fries, and for those of you who are worried about I'm not eating healthy, I do have my fruit here
Followed by a cookie.
that I'm gonna hide my peanut butter cookie behind it. Okay, so it's not that healthy. All right, we're on vacation.
Yeah. And you're in prison. You can't be
we're
healthy in
I
prison.
don't have a choice. I gotta eat with
Right.
You know,
We're in the
so-
warden. We're at the warden's table.
We are in prison. You can even see we are confined. All right, we're gonna dig in and then show you around a little bit.
Yep.
All right, we are heading in here. That's where we would have checked in. So this is a self-guided tour. This is the warden's office and administration in this particular area.
This door.
And this is what they would call central control. Prison guards employees reported to central control every day. They exchanged a metal chit with their first initial and last name for 2 sets of keys, which were needed to open the general central control area. A prisoner intake and visitor shakedown. The loud clang of the first gate closing could be heard in nearby Petros, and more often than not, it signified the last breath of freedom that a new brushy inmate was ever going to take. And this is what made that clang. This probably would have been my cell. I was in solitary confinement. This is the commissary. Convicts were allowed to visit the prison commissary each week. They had separate designated commissary windows, and if the prison was on lockdown, commissary goods were then delivered to maximum security inmate cells.
I wonder if they had those Dasani machines back in the day.
You just had to bring your quarters.
Right.
This is out here in the yard. The whipping post. While Brushy was notorious for its dangerous housing and labor conditions, one of the most notable and unfortunate facts of prison life was the manner in which guards doled out disciplinary action. Whippings were commonplace and carried out using a 4-foot leather strap attached to a baseball bat handle.
Oof.
Prisoners were beaten until welts appeared, then again and again until those blisters were broken. Screams were routinely heard by the townsfolk of nearby Petros, and countless prisoners slept on their stomachs until the wounds healed. Whippings were officially outlawed in 1965. Bummer. Take a look around. This was obviously like the barber shop. We're gonna come down here and take a look at some of the cells. In the early days, dirt floors, which regularly turned into mud pits, served as the prison foundation. Eventually, pine planks lined the wooden structure. Heated by potbelly stoves, the walks, as they were known, were initially lit by hazardous oil lanterns until they were removed at the turn of the 20th century.
These cells are pretty big.
You can see 2 people were in there. Had some shelving, desk, toilet,
And lots of lead paint.
You can see some of the beds that they actually suspended them off the floor when it was dirt floors. Did you know prisoners were carried in small rail cars the short 100-foot distance from the prison to the cave to curtail escape attempts? A lucky few earned 5 to 40 cents a ton working overtask. Miners rotated shifts, 12 hours on, 12 hours off, so that the jail cells could be double booked. And here would be the shower for that floor. Don't drop the soap.
No kidding.
And you can see that there was a second floor up there as well, and actually a third and fourth floor. And for some, this was the end of the line. Beginning in 1896, the barren field known as Simmons Hill Cemetery became the final resting place for those who died behind the wall and were never claimed by a loved one. This was the person Dawn was talking about, James Earl Ray, arguably the most infamous inmate. Martin Luther King Jr.'s convicted assassin, spent years locked up in Brushy, notably spending time inside cell number 28. After initially pleading guilty, he later recanted, claiming to be a patsy of a government's conspiracy. Despite several escape attempts, one of which led to a massive FBI hunt in 1977, earning him dreaded D-block isolation, and years added to his sentence, he was reportedly an otherwise model prisoner. Once stabbed 22 times by 4 black inmates, he managed to survive. Wow. So this is cell number 28, where they said James Earl Ray spent quite a bit of time. Let's see if we can, there, can take a look around. So this was an area for visitation and some adult education. This was an armed guard station looking into the mess hall where they could have places to aim their rifles through there if they needed to. This was an example of the non-contact visitation, so they would sit in there and the visitor would be out here. So this was the mess hall, obviously. And they had a lot of prisoner-created paintings along the wall. Chow time, 3 times a day. Every cell door opened in an entire block and guards marched 200 inmates single file to the cafeteria. For a time, the surrounding 60-acre working farm, which included livestock, a butcher house, crop fields, and a dairy barn, provided all the food for the prison. Imagine coming through here 3 times a day to get something to eat. Walking down the line, picking up your chow with your tray. This was the Great Escape Guru. I'm not going to read through all that, but that's an interesting story. You can pause it and read it. There's another level up on the cell block. Cells look all the same as you saw down on the first floor. Just another level. Shows you one of the guard towers. And this was the main security checkpoint right here. 200 yards from Highway 116. The main prison was surveilled by Tower 2 just above the vehicle trapdoor gate entrance where prisoners first entered the grounds.
I don't know if
Another view from the outdoor area here. So this is D block, or the solitary confinement area. You see there's a lot of kudzu or whatever this is growing here.
Looks like Japanese kudzu.
But this is the solitary confinement where they were kept in here 23 hours a day. They were brought, their food and everything was brought in here by the guards. So this was a little more information on D block. It was their maximum security. They're saying they had more restrictions here than inmates living on death row in Nashville. Prisoners were stripped of all privileges and possessions except their uniforms and bedding. It was not a whole, just a smaller version of blocks A and B. And here we take you through a little bit of the D block. You can go this way. Add a little bit of light through here. you go. Gives you a little better idea what they were looking at. Again, not like the hole you would think of. They're just separated in isolation from the rest of the prisoners. They did have a gymnasium. We'll go over and take a look at that. Basketball court. And all the way over here to the whooping station again. We'll go into the gymnasium here. Often used for boxing matches where inmates squared off inside a ring to the cheers and jeers of peers betting on the bout. The gymnasium also housed dozens of inmates when cell blocks were overcrowded. So this is what they called the yard. It was just used for recreation, socialization. They also apparently played some ball games out here where the guards would take on the inmates in baseball games. And they said over to the right, that far right, is where James Earl Ray jumped the fence to escape. So this was the yard at that time.
Yep, so they also have private events that you can book here as well, and they also have concerts. So I do think that maybe Jamie Johnson has already played here to a sold-out show. If not, it'll be just coming up. And then there's like Brantley Gilbert in October. So this is kind of a big deal, and what a great venue, you know, sit up on the grass on the hill there and watch a show with this beautiful backdrop. Very cool.
Just to give you an idea with things you can look around, they have a museum here that have artifacts, pictures, different memorabilia. This was some of the weapons that were found. This was a prison bed where the prisoner cut shanks out of the bed itself. We're gonna go down here, they said, down to where the hole was. This was another area, if you were not good, you got sent to. So we're gonna go into the hole. When it opened in 1896, it housed the disobedient and dangerous inmates. It was far worse than just solitary confinement. They were once treated to suspension torture, tied by their thumbs to pulley cords hanging from the ceiling, toes barely touching for up to 30 minutes. But this was the whole area. Now, if you were the worst of the worst of the worst, this is where you got sent. One more angle of the yard, or the courtyard area, just to show the prison. Very cool place. Not cool from the standpoint of wanting to be here, but very historic. Kind of shows you what it was all about back then. Wasn't good if you were here. Well, now that we've been deloused, we did the chow hall. They gave us our orientation. We're gonna have to head to our cells. So we're gonna have to leave you now. But we enjoyed you coming along with us today. What did you think, Dawn?
That was really cool. Definitely a unique experience. I think it took us, we did the self-guided tour. It took about an hour to go through a lot of the stuff. So it's a big place, but yeah, very cool, very informative. They did a really good job with laying out displays that explained where you were at and what the history was. So yeah, it was definitely cool.
Well, we're gonna head on out now, and we hope you enjoyed coming along with us, and we look forward to seeing you on our next adventure.
Yeah.
See ya.